The dark side of the Force, as explored in countless narratives from the galaxy far, far away, is a path laden with promises of power, dominance, and unparalleled strength. However, these promises come at a steep cost. The dark side is not just a philosophical divergence from the light. It is a corrupting influence that feeds off emotions such as anger, hatred, and fear. These intense, negative emotions, while amplifying power, also begin to twist the very essence of the Force wielder. This corruption extends beyond the mind and soul. It also manifests physically, disfiguring those who have immersed themselves deeply into the dark side. The relationship between corruption and physical transformation is central to understanding the dark side. While the Force itself is neutral, its different aspects, the light and the dark, draw from different reservoirs of emotional and spiritual energy. The light side demands discipline, calm, and an alignment with the harmony of life. It calls for selflessness and detachment, allowing its practitioners to draw upon it without internal conflict. In contrast, the dark side thrives on passion, chaos, and selfishness. A dark side user taps into the Force by embracing emotions like rage and jealousy, using these feelings to overpower both their enemies and themselves. The dark side's power is seductive, providing immediate gratification and unparalleled strength in battle, but it does so by feeding off the user's own vitality and spirit. This draining process is central to why dark side practitioners often exhibit extreme physical changes. Their reliance on the dark side's intense and destructive energies takes a toll on their bodies. Over time, the use of the dark side scars and burns away the natural vibrancy of the wielder. Their skin may become pale or mottled, their eyes turn yellow or red, and their physical forms may become gaunt or grotesque. These effects are not just a reflection of the physical toll, but also a mirror of the spiritual and psychological corruption that the dark side inflicts. The disfigurement is the dark side's way of externalizing the internal rot. Take, for instance, the infamous example of Emperor Palpatine. Once a seemingly unremarkable senator from Naboo, his immersion into the dark side transformed him beyond recognition. Although his outward appearance was initially maintained through careful manipulation, his battle with Jedi Master Mace Windu marked a turning point. The lightning he wielded, amplified and deflected back onto himself, caused his features to wither and decay almost instantaneously. This dramatic transformation serves as a visual reminder of the price paid for wielding the dark side's immense power. While the lightning may have been the immediate cause, it is likely that the true culprit was the years of dark side immersion that had already eroded his natural state. The disfigurement and corruption of dark side Force wielders stand as powerful metaphors for the destructive nature of their chosen path. While the allure of the dark side lies in its promise of unrestrained power, that power comes with a cost that cannot be avoided. The physical transformations experienced by dark side practitioners, whether through decayed features, glowing eyes, or gaunt appearances, are not merely side effects but direct manifestations of their spiritual decay. Their outward appearances reflect their inner turmoil, their broken connection to the Force's natural balance, and the darkness they have embraced to fuel their ambitions. This transformation serves a dual purpose in the greater narrative of the Force. On one hand, it is a cautionary tale, a vivid reminder of the dangers inherent in succumbing to the dark side's temptations. The visual grotesqueness of figures like Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader underscores the immense cost of pursuing power without restraint or wisdom. On the other hand, the disfigurement highlights the deeply personal and unique nature of the dark side's influence, as each practitioner's transformation mirrors their particular journey into darkness. From the lightning-scarred visage of Palpatine to the armored shell of Darth Vader, these changes are as individual as the emotions and choices that drove them down this path. Yet, despite the cost, the dark side remains seductive to those who seek power, control, or revenge. The physical disfigurement of dark side users is emblematic of their willingness to sacrifice not just their moral compass but also their very identity for the sake of achieving their desires. They see their physical corruption as either a necessary price or a badge of honor, but it ultimately marks them as slaves to the power they sought to wield. The dark side does not offer true freedom or strength. It feeds on the weakness of its users and leaves them consumed by their own hatred, fear, and ambition. In the end, the corruption of the dark side reveals an eternal truth about the Force and its balance. The power of the dark side, for all its might and appeal, is a fleeting and hollow strength that destroys its users as surely as it destroys those they seek to dominate. The disfigurement of its practitioners serves as a symbol of this self-destruction, a reflection of their inner decay and a warning to all who might follow in their footsteps. While the dark side may promise dominance and immortality, it delivers only suffering and decay, leaving its practitioners trapped in the very chaos they sought to control. Similarly, Darth Vader provides another striking example of how the dark side corrupts both body and soul. While his physical injuries on Mustafar were primarily due to his duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi, the dark side's hold over him ensured that his body never fully healed. His wounds, cauterized and bound in mechanical armor, became permanent scars not just on his flesh but on his spirit. Vader's gaunt and imposing visage, combined with his haunting mechanical breathing, reflects the hollowing out of his humanity. The dark side may have given him incredible strength and fearsome control, but it also left him trapped in a state of perpetual suffering, both physical and emotional. The dark side's influence on appearance also reflects its intrinsic philosophy. The Sith, who are the most infamous practitioners of the dark side, prize power above all else. To them, strength and domination are the ultimate goals, and personal sacrifice is an acceptable price. This mindset often leads them to push their bodies and minds to the brink, using forbidden techniques and rituals that extract great power but leave lasting scars. In the pursuit of strength, dark side users often disregard the cost to themselves, believing that their physical disfigurement is merely an outward sign of their inner potency. However, this mindset blinds them to the fact that the dark side's power is inherently parasitic. It consumes its users, offering them strength in the short term while slowly destroying them from within. The transformative effects of the dark side are also deeply tied to its connection to the natural order. The Force, as a cosmic energy field, seeks balance. When a Force wielder delves too deeply into the dark side, they disrupt this balance, creating an unnatural disturbance. This disturbance often manifests in their own physical form, as if the Force itself rebels against the unnatural energies they channel. The pallid skin, glowing eyes, and twisted features of dark side users are not just consequences of their own choices, but also a reaction from the Force. These distortions mark them as individuals who have deviated from the natural path, consumed by their own desires and the power they wield. What makes this transformation all the more tragic is that it is often a self-perpetuating cycle. The more a dark side user succumbs to their negative emotions, the deeper their connection to the dark side becomes. This stronger connection amplifies their physical and spiritual decay, which in turn fuels their hatred and anger. For many, this cycle becomes inescapable. Their disfigurement serves as a constant reminder of their choices, driving them further into the dark side rather than offering a path to redemption. It is this unrelenting spiral that traps so many dark side users, leaving them as husks of their former selves. The disfigurement of dark side users is not just a matter of physical degradation but also an expression of their inner state. The Sith and other dark side practitioners often revel in their appearances, seeing their transformations as a badge of honor. For them, their twisted forms are a testament to their strength and their willingness to embrace the dark side fully. However, this pride masks the reality of their condition. While they may see themselves as powerful, their disfigurement is a sign of their vulnerability, a visible reminder that the dark side is not a tool to be wielded but a force that wields them in return. Ultimately, the corruption and disfigurement caused by the dark side are reflections of its nature. The dark side is a path of temptation and excess, promising power but exacting a devastating cost. It thrives on the weakness of its users, drawing them in with promises of strength while slowly consuming their bodies and souls. This parasitic relationship leaves its mark on every dark side user, ensuring that their physical form mirrors the corruption within. It is a stark reminder that the dark side offers no true freedom, only the illusion of power wrapped in chains of suffering and decay. The corruption of dark side Force wielders goes beyond mere physical transformation. It is a deeply symbolic manifestation of the power they embrace and the choices they make. The dark side, in its very essence, feeds on imbalance and thrives on emotions that disrupt harmony. This disruption is not only externalized in the disfigured appearances of its practitioners, but also internalized in their deteriorating mental and emotional states. As they draw upon the dark side, their dependence deepens, and the energies they harness begin to reflect their descent into darkness. The physical changes often begin subtly, perhaps with pallor in the skin or an unnatural intensity in the eyes. Over time, as the dark side practitioner immerses themselves further, these changes become more pronounced, leaving them visibly marked by their corruption. The golden or fiery red eyes common among Sith Lords, for example, are a hallmark of dark side users who have embraced the destructive passions of anger and hatred. These eyes, blazing with unnatural energy, act as windows to the corruption within, a constant reminder of the emotional chaos that fuels their power. One of the most intriguing aspects of the dark side's corrupting influence is the way it exploits and amplifies the user's negative emotions. Every dark side practitioner enters the path for their own reasons, but the Force amplifies these motivations to an extreme. Anakin Skywalker, for instance, turned to the dark side in a desperate attempt to save his loved ones, but his fear and frustration were twisted into rage and hate. This emotional intensity fed the dark side, and in turn, the dark side began to consume him. The iconic image of Darth Vader, encased in black armor, serves as both a symbol of his transformation and a physical manifestation of the dark side's toll. His reliance on machinery to sustain him parallels his spiritual reliance on the dark side, which simultaneously empowers and enslaves him. The process of disfigurement and decay can also be understood as a consequence of the dark side's very nature. Unlike the light side, which works in harmony with the Force's natural flow, the dark side seeks to bend the Force to the user's will. This bending, this constant battle against the natural order, is inherently destructive. The user forces the Force into submission, twisting it to serve their desires, and this struggle takes its toll not only on their surroundings but also on their bodies. The grotesque physical transformations that dark side practitioners undergo are, in many ways, a reflection of the damage they inflict on the Force itself. This concept can be extended to the Sith philosophy, which actively embraces the idea of transformation through pain and suffering. The Sith believe that pain is a necessary component of growth and that destruction paves the way for new creation. In this context, their disfigurement can be seen as a twisted form of self-expression, a physical testament to the sacrifices they have made in their pursuit of power. For Sith Lords like Darth Sidious, the grotesque appearance he adopted after his battle with Mace Windu became a symbol of his rebirth as Emperor. While the lightning may have physically scarred him, it was his commitment to the dark side that allowed him to embrace his new form without hesitation. The relationship between dark side practitioners and their disfigurement also underscores a deeper truth about the Force. It is not a power to be dominated without consequence. The Force, in its natural state, seeks balance and harmony, and the dark side's corruption is a violent rejection of that balance. This rejection manifests not only in the physical scars borne by its users, but also in the suffering and chaos they inflict on the galaxy. The dark side is, in essence, a mirror reflecting the turmoil within the hearts of its wielders, and their physical appearances are a stark reminder of the destructive path they have chosen. While the disfigurement of dark side users often serves as a cautionary tale, it also reveals the dark side's seductive allure. The promises of power and control are difficult to resist, especially for those who feel powerless or overwhelmed by their emotions. The dark side offers a path to channel these feelings into strength, but the cost is always greater than the user anticipates. This allure is part of the dark side's insidious nature. It preys on vulnerability and desperation, offering a false sense of mastery even as it consumes the individual. The story of Count Dooku illustrates this dynamic well. Dooku, a once noble Jedi Master, was seduced by the dark side not out of anger or hatred, but out of disillusionment and a desire to create a better galaxy. However, as he became Darth Tyrannus, the ideals that had driven him were overshadowed by the corrupting influence of the dark side. While his physical appearance did not change as dramatically as other Sith Lords, his demeanor and aura became darker, reflecting the internal corruption he had undergone. His story highlights the subtle yet pervasive nature of the dark side's influence, which does not always manifest in physical disfigurement but always leaves its mark. The physical corruption of dark side users is also an important narrative device, serving to visually differentiate them from their counterparts. The striking contrast between the radiant, serene appearance of Jedi like Yoda or Obi-Wan Kenobi and the twisted, grotesque forms of Sith Lords like Palpatine or Vader underscores the fundamental divide between the two paths. This visual distinction reinforces the idea that the dark side is not simply a different philosophy but a destructive force that leaves no part of its practitioners untouched. Ultimately, the dark side's corruption and its impact on appearance are integral to its nature. It is a path that promises power but delivers suffering, a force that thrives on destruction and chaos, even at the expense of those who wield it. The disfigurement of dark side users serves as both a consequence of their choices and a symbol of the path they have taken. It is a reminder that the dark side, for all its seductive power, exacts a terrible price, leaving its practitioners as shadows of the beings they once were.